Democrats launch inquiry into Trump firing of watchdog who was investigating Pompeo. Their concern is amplified by the fact that the firing came just hours after the House passed the HEROES Act, which contains additional legal protections for inspectors general. They don't give a fuck about the law. In any reasonable administration this would be justification for impeachment. It says a great deal that this is just another day for this one. Hey, Susan Collins, do you think Trump has still learned his lesson? The GOP is a criminal organization. They will be stonewalling any investigation into this if you want a real resolution vote in November. Would this shelve the inquiry into the other inspector general he fired like last week? Susan Collins was right, he really did learn a lesson. Is there a German word for being right in exactly the wrong way? Impeach his fat ass again. Imagine still believing that not voting this November is still the righteous thing to do. Imagine fooling yourself that much. The Democrats still haven't figured out that they're trying to use the law to fight a group of people who don't give a shit about the law. I'm 23. I voted in the last election for Hillary. It was my first time where I was able to vote. Here we are, our justice system is busted, and in a time where people should be rioting in the streets there is a fucking pandemic. I will be voting this year, but other than that I really don't know what else I can do. I want to do something to help but I truly don't know how I can at this point. I campaigned for Bernie. I was on the phones. I spread the word. I fear our democracy needs mass protest. But in the state that our world is in, I don't think it can happen. I'm still in school. In the middle of all my finals. But I'll be damned if I sit by and watch as democracy dies. For people like me, what should we do to help? I've called my state representatives, I've spread the word. But I just don't know what else to do. For people my age that give a shit, I implore you, vote. It matters more than you know. Now more than ever. History will remember this time. In a year we can hear the Supreme Court arguments for the subpoenas the Republicans will ignore about why they shouldn't have to have any oversight and Donnie should be a king. While Sikulo claims Donald Trump is immune because he can't function without being distracted. The lawmakers request that the White House and State Department preserve and produce all records relating to Friday night's late-night firing, to which the White House responded by laughing and saying, "Yes, sure, we'll do that right after you get Giuliani to obey his subpoena." Easy impeachment right here. Obvious abuse of power and obstruction. But this shit is daily now, so can someone explain to a non-American how a watchdog is worth anything if he can be fired this easily? Aren't there any protections? Just imagine how awful this administration would be if the Democrats hadn't taken the House in 2018. I know people would say they couldn't be worse, but they've somehow managed to be worse at every turn. There is no bottom. Finally, I'm sure this investigation will finally get to the bottom of Redacted. Redacted will finally get what they deserve for Redacted. Democracy is in good hands. Vote. Impeachment 2, let's go. Vote. I feel like a president firing the person investigating them should just instantly be counted as being a traitor. Honestly, if you haven't done anything wrong, why would you need to fire the people investigating you? This is true, honest to God admission of guilt. It's plain as day. Who would you think is guilty? The man who goes to court, complies with the process and comes out clean? Or the person firing lawyers non-stop, threatening witnesses, going on Twitter tirades, etc.? Something tells me the second guy may not be innocent. Here's the thing. Trump won't. He will just hide documents and refuse to let people testify. The House won't enforce a subpoena. It might go to the courts. That'll take until 2030, and in the meantime Trump will do whatever the fuck he wants. The law is meaningless. This is batshit insane. How do no checks and balances actually exist? The impeachment acquittal just emboldened them, didn't it? Why does the president have the power to fire watchdogs? Democrats, you need to step up your game to get anything to stick. The future of our country and whatever scraps of democracy remain, depend on it. Can someone please tell me how the president has the authority to just fire watchdogs? What's the point then? If you think this is bad, just wait until Trump gets re-elected. He'll be even more emboldened with no restraints. It'll take decades to recover from the damage he'll do. Fortunately, we still have time to change course. Jesus Christ. It's Rome all over again. America will crumble from within. Wasn't the swamp supposed to be cleared? So far I am seeing more swamp. So they'll find that they fired the watchdog to keep them from doing their job and nothing will happen because there's no consequences for Republicans. What's the point if the Senate clearly does not care about the rule of law anymore? Time to move out of America and let the Ayn Rand-style bad guys starve themselves out. The blatant corruption is disgusting. If any civilian business or manager fires the person investigating their shady behavior, they're fired. Shut down, and facing an immediate lawsuit. Why do conservatives think we should hold the fucking president to a lower standard? Yet another great idea that if history has anything to say about it will show Noon went far enough to keep this in check. Impeachment round 2. Sadly I'm almost 100% sure nothing will come from this. I can save them the time. He did it because he's a corrupt motherfucker who they have failed to hold accountable. I'm German so I'm not really educated on this thing. A government entity can fire the person that's supposed to control them. Absolute chaos down there, the rule of law is being toyed with by an orange clown, and nothing will come out of this. More posturing and empty stern words. Good on them, but is it too cynical to say so what? Trump has made it clear that he does what he wants and believes the president is above the law, unless that president is Obama. His party allies in the Senate, save Romney, agree and have already rejected impeachment. Even if the inquiry leads to incontrovertible evidence of corruption, law breaking, whatever, he will say fake news, the Senate will back him up, and, most unfortunately, a majority of Americans will not care. Winning in 2020 is the only chance Dems have to hold him accountable. Let me guess, they're gonna find a bunch of horrible shit, and then nothing's gonna happen. The Trump family administration fires all who question their criminal impact on our government. They can't stay in office forever, we will catch them. They're terrified of the entire GOP establishment being in jail come January. No Inspector General equals no Secret Service. No oversight equals no Secret Service. This won't go anywhere. None of this shit matters. I commend the Democrats, but our one true power is November. As soon as we vote out every last one of these criminals, we can open a commission and throw them all in jail. 1 year for every loss of life. One more thing for these douchebags to stonewall. Yeah, the standard procedure for this type of thing is completely useless now. This means nothing. Don't worry, angry on watchers. Nobody's gonna hurt your precious king. Imagine this passing the Senate, it's more likely a coincidence than anything. Nip this in the bud before someone with a conscience pulls a whistleblower and they have to sacrifice one of their senators that doesn't lick enough boot. So, how long until the revolution? I love how everyone still pretends like we need evidence to know Trump is guilty of so much shady and illegal shit. He's a fucking con artist who worships Putin. Nothing will be done. That ought to take care of it then. Can't wait for nothing to happen. Again. Cue all the complaints about a witch hunt. Trump supporters and most of the GOP just straight up do not give a single fuck what he does.